the Carolina Panthers plan is really a plan of incompetence, and they are traveling down a road where they're going to eventually meet a dead end, and then they're going to have to turn around and restart this organization once again. And I don't trust David Tepper. I've made that clear. David Tepper is the owner that owns the restaurant, never cooked the chicken parm, veal parm, spaghetti, and meatballs in his life, but then goes into the kitchen and says, I'm the owner of the restaurant, chef of 20 years, your assistant chef, everyone that's a part of the kitchen that has been a part of making fabulous food or good food for years, you move over, I'm going to cook the chicken parm. And he has no experience, and David Tepper continues to burn the meal. And it goes back to the draft process, and this is coming from someone that I'll raise my hand and admit that I got it wrong. I thought C.J. Stroud should have been the second pick in the draft, and Bryce Young should have been the first pick in the draft. But just because the talk show host, Zach Gelb, says that doesn't mean anything. David Tepper is running the organization, and it is so clear, whether they want to admit it or deny it, that the regime of McCown, the quarterback coach, and then Frank Reich, the head coach, they preferred C.J. Stroud. And through the first 9-10 weeks of the season, David Tepper usurping McCown and also Reich is leading the Panthers down the wrong road, because it's clear not that Frank Reich doesn't like Bryce Young, but Frank Reich preferred C.J. Stroud. And so far in their young career, it does look like Frank Reich's initial feeling was actually right. So with all that being said, I just don't know where the Panthers go. Like, it's easy for me to get on the radio today and say they need to beef up the offensive line. No crap. But it is alarming that heading into this season, when I evaluated that offense, that was the one thing I actually liked on the team, was the offensive line. And this offensive line has done a complete 180, and it is now a bad offensive line. So you first have to start with beefing up the offensive line. But then you need to go get a number one wide receiver. And you look at it, 3 quarterbacks, and I don't want to say there were questions about Bryce Young coming out of the draft, but 3 quarterbacks that there were questions about in the last 3-4 years of football. Josh Allen in Buffalo, Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia, and then also Tua Tagovailoa because of the injuries with the Miami Dolphins. When did we see those guys show that they could play at a really high level? For the Bills, when they got Stephon Diggs. For Jalen Hurts, when they got not only A.J. Brown, but Devontae Smith. And for Tua Tagovailoa, when he got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So you need to put your quarterback in a better position to succeed, and that has to happen this offseason. Because if you do not go out there and beef up this offensive line, and then also target Mike Evans, who's a free agent, good luck trying to get him to come to Carolina, or maybe you give up the 2025 first-round draft pick because you don't have the draft pick first round in 2024 for Devontae Adams. If you don't be bold, if you don't be aggressive, we're going to be sitting here at the end of 2024 where it's going to be a reset for the Carolina Panthers, where I'm not saying they're going to get rid of Bryce Young. You know, I do think Bryce Young is getting too much criticism through the first half of the season because they've put him in a crappy position. Find me a quarterback that's going to come in right now with an offense that isn't tailored to Bryce Young and isn't tailored to the quarterback, a horrible offensive line, and no weapons that intimidate you. Like, don't get me wrong. Adam Thielen has had a very nice career. But Adam Thielen, even though he's having a solid season in the year of 2023, isn't going to spark any intimidation or fear into an opposing defense. Who are the players on this Panthers defense that spark fear? You know, to an opposing defense on their offense? None of them. Not a single one. So they have to quickly revamp this team this offseason. And I think you're asking them to do so much that I don't believe at the end of 2024, there's going to be a big enough improvement where the impatient David Tepper is going to say, yeah, I'm seeing progress. I need to give Frank Reich a third season. So barring them going out and getting a legit number one wide receiver and really vastly improving this offensive line, what are we looking at here? Maybe a 4 or 5 win Carolina Panthers team at most? At most next year. And I do believe David Tepper is going to sit back and after 2 years, he's going to say, I need to go hire a new coach. So then you're going to have Bryce Young going on year 3 with his second head coach and then also a completely entire new offensive staff. The Panthers are just set up for failure for the immediate future.